on the lookout for isolated showers and thunderstorms. There is a 20% chance of precipitation. Through the overnight, we're looking at a low around 62 degrees, and heading into tomorrow morning, mostly sunny skies with a high expected to be 78. This is your weather update from the WSIC Weather Center. Everyone, welcome back to the Scoreboard here on WSIC 105.9, 100.7 FM, 704-873-1400. That is the phone number. If you have something you'd like to talk about, feel free to reach out. We'll talk about anything you want here. But we do have to start with some news. There was some news out of the NBA today, and actually it's probably the best news that the NBA has put out in the past, 2 to 3 years. I mean, this even is better than this the play-in tournament, which is terrible, but the in-season tournament was a thing that was announced this offseason, and now the NBA Board of Governors has approved a new policy that a team is unable to rest 2 star players in the same game. Huh? How did it get so bad that the NBA now has to govern when a player is allowed to rest? Why don't these players want to play their games? What is the underlying issue here? Because there's something going on. I mean, 10, 15 years ago, people would play 80, 82 games a year without a problem. Now you see people at 60 games, and it's like, what are you doing? Play. You're getting paid millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars. The least you can do is play. So a star, because it says specifically 2 star players, a star will be defined now. And the definition of a star is someone who has made All-Star or the All-NBA team in the past 3 seasons. I don't like this. I don't like it at all. I don't like a lot of the things that the NBA is doing, and this is another one. We can add this to the list because there's really no need. I mean, there is a need to restrict when a player is able to rest, but there shouldn't be an issue with it. These players should want to play. Instead, the NBA has to come up with rules. You have to play a certain amount of games to be considered for awards at the end of the year. You have to play a certain amount of games for this and that. Now you're not allowed to rest 2 star players. Man. All right, so under the policy, unless a team demonstrates an approved reason for a star player not to participate, a team must manage its roster to ensure that no more than 1 star player is unavailable for the same game, ensure that star players are available for all national televised and NBA in-season tournament games, maintain a balance between the number of 1-game absences for a star player in home and road games, refrain from any long-term shutdowns in which a star player stops playing games. If resting a healthy player, ensure that the player is present at the game and visible to fans. Oh my goodness. It's like they're pulling teeth trying to get these guys to play. And I get it. If you're a fan and LeBron's coming to town and you're like, hey, I want to go see LeBron James before he retires. Oh, guess what? I just got to the stadium and I found out that LeBron's not playing today. He's not hurt. He's just not playing. I just don't understand it. It's so funny to me that they have to try this hard to get people to play. Baseball, football, hockey, none of the other sports have this problem. They want to be out there. They'll be out there and play hurt. Not the NBA. The NBA is like, yeah, we had a back-to-back. So today's the second day of that back-to-back. I'm just going to sit this one out. I mean, we watch hockey players all the time play a back-to-back, and I am 100% sure that it is more taxing on the body to play in back-to-back hockey games than basketball games, especially with the rules in the NBA now. You can't touch anybody. Despicable. I don't know what they're going to do to fix this, but it needs to be fixed because the NBA is going downhill, and it's going downhill faster than people realize because nobody wants to watch. There's no stars playing. There's no drama. They're trying to do this in-season tournament. They try to play-in series. I mean, a play-in tournament. What's the next gimmick? The 4-point line is right around the corner. I'm telling you right now. Give it 3 or 4 years and you'll see a 4-point line in the NBA. I don't know. I don't know how they're going to fix this. And the problem, I mean, it's not a problem, but you have so few players to pay in the NBA that these contracts are so inflated that like guys who are sixth men are getting paid more than starting quarterbacks in the NFL. And I get it. It has a lot to do with the TV deals and the income of the league and how much of a revenue share they're getting. I get all that. But can't we like figure this out together? Get these players on the court? Because nobody wants to go see a game where 3-star players are sitting, which is why they enacted this rule to begin with. 704-873-1400. That's the phone number. If you have something you'd like to talk about, it could be basketball related. If you want to talk about this rule that the NBA has just enacted, or we could talk about baseball, football. We have football tomorrow night. Minnesota, Philadelphia. As a reminder, you're not going to be able to see that game unless you have Amazon Prime. Yes, we are entering the era of streaming. We've been in the era of streaming, but I'm talking about streaming NFL football games, and that is the only way you can watch it. So anyway, Vikings-Eagles, this game is coming up tomorrow. I'm just really upset with the NBA right now. I don't understand how you have to, in 10 or 15 years, start to add rules to make players play. Last year, it was you have to play this many games to be eligible for postseason awards. Maybe that's why they did the play-in tournament, so that players might want to play a little more. But I don't know if that's going to move the needle for them. They probably don't care. You have NBA players on the regular going out and saying in not as many words that the regular season does not matter. We're just trying to survive until we get to the playoffs. I don't know. I don't know how you fix that. I don't know if there's a talent issue. I don't know if it's the season being too long, even though it hasn't been changed in forever. If you have an idea on how to fix this, please call me and let me know, because I don't think we need a rule on how often you're allowed to play or how often you're allowed to rest if you're healthy. You should want to play. Oh boy. 704-873-1400. Like I said, that's the phone number. You are listening to The Scoreboard with me, Joe Berg, here on WSIC. We're going to head to our first break of the day. When we return, we're going to talk a little bit of NFL football because there's some news going on, and it still feels like the world, the NFL world, is in shock over the Aaron Rodgers news. So stay tuned. We'll be right back here on The Scoreboard. Don't go anywhere.
Whatever the story,
we have to end our dependence on China.
Have your say.
This debt crisis is going to set our economy back big time.
This is WSIC News Talk Now.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Enjoy exploring the many musical talents of others? Kane Center for the Arts in Cornelius is hosting the LKN Songwriters Showcase this Saturday. Davidson Mayer, Rusty Knox will be among the performers. The LKN Songwriter Showcase this Saturday. For more info, visit canearts.org. That's CAINarts.org. Less than 2 weeks until Huntersville Hay Day, the sesquicentennial celebration for the town of Huntersville. Saturday, September 23rd from 2 until 8 p.m. at Huntersville Athletic Park. Come celebrate Huntersville's 150th birthday. Saturday, September 23rd. For more info, visit huntersville.org. Not much time left for apple picking at Kerrigan Farms. The apple picking at Kerrigan Farms is a very short window. Apple picking will end September 30th. Apple picking at Kerrigan Farms, only in September. Book your experience now at kerriganfarms.com. That's kerriganfarms.com. Have an event you would like to tell people about? Yard sales, estate sales, and everything in between? Visit WSICnews.com and click on events to submit your event today.
The Renaissance Festival is back! Saturdays and Sundays, September 30th through November 19th. A non-stop outdoor family adventure! Huzzah! Tickets available online only at renfestinfo.com while supplies last.
Mention the Renaissance Festival and receive discount hotel accommodations at Hampton Inn and Suites, Huntersville and Lake Norman. Huzzah!
And now a look at your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. As we head into the evening here, be on the lookout for isolated showers and thunderstorms. There is a 20% chance of precipitation. Through the overnight, we're looking at a low around 62 degrees. And heading into tomorrow morning, mostly sunny skies with a high expected to be 78. This is your weather update from the WSIC Weather Center.
It's always great to have the right tools and supplies when working outside. Little Shavers Woodshop is ready to help. Little Shavers has all your wood, treated lumber, wood fencing, and all the treatment items to keep them looking great. BBG paints and stains, and add in some pine needles and Daddy Pete's mulch and soils, and your landscaping will be the best around. Head on over to Little Shavers, 3301 Salisbury Highway, right in between Statesville, Morrisville, and Moxville. Visit littleshaverswoodshop.com. That's LILShaverswoodshop.com.
If you have an upcoming event, let WSIC spread the word. Go to WSICnews.com and click on the Community Calendar button. WSIC, proud to be part of your community.
All right, welcome back to the Scoreboard here on WSIC 105.9, 100.7 FM, and always streaming the video to Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, WSICnews.com. We're everywhere, worldwide. Catch us everywhere. Let's get into the NFL a little bit because we have a game tomorrow. But not only that, there was some news today that Baker Mayfield told team reporters that, Rashad White told team reporters that Baker Mayfield pulled off some kind of feat where he was able to decode Minnesota's defensive signals in real time and use them to beat the Vikings on Sunday. So apparently Baker Mayfield came into the locker room at halftime and said, I got this. I know their signals. And proceeded to tell everybody if they do this, then they're doing this. If they're doing this, then they're doing this. Here's my question, though. Because if you look at the Buccaneers and the Vikings and the box score, Tampa only scored 10 in the second half. Now, it was enough to come back and get the win by 3. But if you decode a team's signals and you know what they're doing on defense, wouldn't you, be able to put up a little more points? Now, I know there's other things involved with this. It has to be blocked correctly. People have to execute. You have to get your reads right. But 10 points in the second half after you decoded their signals? It's a little fishy to me. Just a little bit. Now, maybe they're right. Maybe the brain of Baker Mayfield was able to figure this one out, and he did have their signals, which is why they were able to score 10 in the second half. I'd be curious to see an alternate reality where they didn't decode the signals, if they would have come back and won that game or not. Because it just, like I said, it just seems like only 10 points scored in the second half after decoding signals. It just seems like you'd be able to put some more points on the board, because you know what they're going to run defensively. If they're a cover 3, you do this. Man coverage, you look for your man guy. I just... blitz, whatnot. If you decode the signals the way you said you have, you know, I shouldn't really be questioning this, because they did win. And that's the most important thing, is that the Buccaneers won, which stinks for the Panthers, because the Panthers, man, how unfortunate to start the year and be the only team in the NFC South to not win a game on Sunday. Or Monday night, because, you know, we had Monday Night Football with Aaron Rodgers and confirmed Achilles tear. It feels like everybody in the NFL, like fans and beat writers and reporters and the analysts, everybody's just kind of still in shock. Like, is Aaron Rodgers' season really over right now? It's so unfortunate, because that team, man, that Jets team is so good. It's so well constructed. They have a great defense. They have a great offense. And now you lose your quarterback, who was supposed to take you to the promised land. Oh, God. I don't know how long this one's going to sting for Jets fans specifically, but even just the rest of the NFL, because if you're just a fan of good stories and good football, this hurts. The Jets were going to be a real problem this year. They still can be. Maybe Zach Wilson can figure it out. Maybe. I wouldn't bank on it. There's a reason that they traded for Aaron Rodgers and moved him to the backup, but there's also a reason that they didn't trade Zach Wilson away. Because if they really had no faith in him, he would be somewhere else, the same way that Trey Lance got moved away. Because, man, they brought Sam Darnold in as just kind of some insurance, and Darnold must have done so much better than Trey Lance in the preseason and during practice that the 49ers said, we don't want you anymore. We have no use for you. You will be our third string. And you just can't justify paying that much money to a third string quarterback. Anyway, like I was saying, Panthers, the only team in the NFC South that did not win a game opening week. They got the Saints on Monday night. That game should be kicking off around 7:15. If you're tuning in on Monday, you might be surprised when you turn on the radio, you hear Brian Summers and Brian's show ends, and you're like, all right, time for the scoreboard. And then you hear Panthers pregame. We're not going to be here on Monday. I will not be on air on Monday. Instead, you will hear the pregame for the Panthers. And then after that, obviously, you'll hear the Panthers game. But the Panthers, like I said, Monday night against the Saints here at home. I don't know what to expect, because I don't think that the Panthers can be that bad 2 weeks in a row, because they were not good. Nobody looked great. Everybody just kind of looked like they were out there lollygagging, as they say. But the Panthers take on the Saints on Monday night. That is a division game that's going to be so important. These early season games, I think, are more important than late season games. Because if you start strong, if you can start with 3 wins in your first 4, if you can start hot, you do not have to worry as much at the end of the year when maybe you're struggling and you need to win a couple of games in the last few weeks. Instead of saying, hey, we got 4 weeks until playoffs. If we lose, we're eliminated. I'd much rather say, hey, we got 4 weeks to the playoffs. If we win 2 games, we clinch. And that starts at the beginning of the season. I know there's such a microscope under those late season games because you can really see the picture forming and who's going to slot in where and where the wild card's going to come from. And then you can say, all right, this team plays this team, this plays, this and this. This is what the Panthers need to do. We can forget all that if they start the year strong. Losing on opening weekend, not the best thing in the world, but they can recover. Get to 500, you'll be okay, and then get a rhythm going. It's going to be a tough season. There is a stretch here early on in the year where the Panthers are going to be playing tough game after tough game. And really it starts right after this Saints game because they have the Seahawks, the Vikings, the Lions, and the Dolphins before they go on their bye week. I don't know about you, but those are 4 games that I can easily see the Panthers losing. A little bit harder for me to see them winning those games. Maybe the Seahawks, they could beat them. Maybe, because Geno really wasn't Geno week 1. But the Vikings, they were in the playoffs last year. They're going to be competing for the NFC North title. The Detroit Lions, we've been talking about the Lions. They might be the team to beat in the NFC North. And Miami, oh boy, Miami's offense is just unstoppable. That Tua to Tyreek connection. I don't know if it's Tyreek or if Tua's just really good. Tua's a great quarterback. He is. He needs to stay healthy. And Tua is the one that's kind of going to break this mold of terrible Alabama quarterbacks because he's going to actually be a good Alabama quarterback. Who would have thought it would have taken a lefty for that to happen? I would have. I'm left-handed. Just throw a lefty out there. They'll do better. Anyway, that is a tough stretch for the Panthers. But then they go into their bye week after that for week 7. They have a couple of layups. Not really layups, but definitely games they should be winning in the Texans, the Colts, and the Bears. But it starts this weekend with the Saints on Monday night. They have to get this win. They can't start the year 0-2 in the division. I get that it's 2 different teams and they're going to play them again. Get a win, get some confidence, and start rolling with this momentum. Just get this win however you can. Ugly win, great win. You know, who cares? Bryce Young throws 4 interceptions. If they win, they win. They can get some momentum out of it. We're coming up on our second break of the day here. On the other side of the break, I want to at least bring the MLB back into play here because it's so close to playoffs. I don't want to lose sight of this because I know with baseball, it's kind of like NASCAR where you get later in the year and it turns to fall and it's like, hey, what happened to these sports? Oh yeah, the big bad giant, the NFL came knocking and they said, we want your viewers. And they take them. The NFL just, in the fall, you're not beating them. So I want to at least update everybody here in the MLB playoff standings. Who's looking good? Who's looking bad? So we'll talk about that when we return. Thanks for listening to the Scoreboard. News Talk WSIC. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back after this.
Thought-provoking conversations and informed perspectives.
It's meant for everyday people to understand, and you don't have to stress about technical terms and stuff. They just say it like a real person.
WSIC News Talk Now.
In life, we plan for many important things. Weddings, our children's education, retirement. A celebration of life is really no different. Planning and paying for your life celebration in advance will give you and your family valuable peace of mind. We'll help you take care of every detail with professionalism and compassion. We're Bunch Johnson Funeral Home. Find us at dignitymemorial.com.
And now a look at your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. As we head into the evening here, be on the lookout for isolated showers and thunderstorms. There is a 20% chance of precipitation. Through the overnight, we're looking at a low around 62 degrees. And heading into tomorrow morning, mostly sunny skies with a high expected to be 78. This is your weather update from the WSIC Weather Center.
Quality Car Care is your local Toyota specialist and a licensed NC inspection station. Plus, find a huge selection of quality pre-owned cars at QualityCarCareStatesville.com or call 704-871-2535.
As the Panthers move forward, they'll be looking to open up the offense more than they did in Atlanta, especially in the deeper passing game. I'm Jim Zoki with a Panthers update after this.
The only way to be your best self is with your best health. When you have a health partner who doesn't just treat part of you, they care for all of you. That's why more people prefer Atrium Health, because unrivaled care is easier, more accessible, and more complete than ever before, so that you can enjoy more of the moments you love. That's what it means to live meaningfully, to live joyfully, to live fully with Atrium Health.
In their opener in Atlanta, the Panthers attempted only one pass of over 20 yards, and that was an incompletion between rookies Bryce Young and Jonathan Mingo. And looking back at that game, Coach Frank Reich says there were options for more deeper shots available on some plays.
Absolutely. The deep ball always has to be a threat. We actually called more than I thought we did. We probably had 4 or 5, maybe even 6 potential deep shot calls. A couple of them, we just didn't execute on. There was one that we checked out of because they were bringing a blitz. And then there was one that we read something and just went the other way, which sometimes happens. You see something and you see something you like over here and it was good.
Now as the Panthers prepare for Game 2 versus New Orleans, Reich says they certainly want to use more of the field with their offense beginning with this game against the Saints.
Really what you look at is the plus 20 plays. There's 2 categories of getting the ball deep. There's the plus 40 plays where you're throwing go balls on the outside and deep post routes. And then there's the chunk of those deep plays over the middle or on the sideline, those 20, 25-yard gainers. Obviously, we didn't have any of either of those, so that's not going to be acceptable.
I'm Jim Zoki on the Carolina Panthers Radio Network, presented by Morris Jenkins.
Hey, listen, are you a 50-year-old person looking for term life insurance? Then you need to talk to Bob. Bob specializes in helping people find $1 million or more of term life insurance for a couple of $100 a month. Look, you need to know there's a price war in the term life insurance business, and you may be paying too much. Call Bob, and he'll shop and see how much money he can save you. Look, this could be the last term life insurance policy you ever have. Your rates are guaranteed for the next 20 years. That's right, guaranteed level rates for the next 20 years. And if you're a smoker or your health is not perfect, Bob has great rates for you too. So for $1 million of term life insurance coverage for a couple of $100 a month, call Bob right now. 800-989-1754. 800-989-1754. 800-989-1754. That's 800-989-1754. Paid for by Term Direct.
The world's news.
Taiwan is a successful democracy, a thriving economy, and a global leader in health and science.
When you need it.
I was surprised there were no facts in there. I mean, normally in an indictment you have alleged facts, so they said that this was a false business record entry to aid and abet another crime. We're not saying what the other crime was.
This is WSIC.
I believe that the Biden administration should ignore this ruling. It is up to the Biden administration to choose whether or not to enforce such a ruling.
WSIC. News, talk, now. 76 years strong, and we're still the one. WSIC. News, talk, now. Be a part of the conversation.
We can't fix America's debt by starving its people.
Have your say.
One shooting after another, and we're doing nothing to solve it?
This is WSIC. News, talk, now.
All right, welcome back. Another segment here of the Scoreboard News Talk, WSIC 105.9, 100.7 FM, and the phone number 704-873-1400. I told you it was going to come down to the last day in the NL wild card. And I'm starting to think we're going to end up having a tie. Because it is very tight. So Philadelphia is only 3.5 games ahead of the cut line right now. They are the first wild card. The Cubs are 1.5 games to the good, and then you have Arizona. Cincinnati 1 game back, Miami 1.5 games back, San Francisco 1.5 games back. 6 teams going for 3 spots. If you like chaos, this is the time to be watching baseball. Because every game is important, every pitch is important, every win is even more important. Not as important as the beginning of the year, as I've always said. But you have Cincinnati currently playing. As you might remember, we decided, as members of the Scoreboard, to bandwagon the Reds this year. I think I jinxed them because ever since then, they have not done great. Now, they're doing okay right now. Just okay. They're warming up against the Tigers. There's 2 games right now that are about to end. We already have 2 games that have finished. The Rockies beat the Cubs, which is pretty big. And the Rays beat the Twins, which helps the Guardians, who are playing right now 5-5, 10th inning against the Giants, who also need a win. Angels playing the Mariners in the top of the 10th. The Mariners up 3-2. That game could end any minute. Mariners desperately needing a win also. There are good series on good series going on in baseball right now. One of the good ones that we've had going on were the Yankees and the Red Sox, a doubleheader yesterday, the Yankees sweep. And now both the Yankees and Red Sox are 7 games back of the wild card. I'm going to say that those are the only 2. Well, I know those are the only 2 that still have a chance to make it. But 7 games out. Their elimination number is 11. So 11 games they lose to the wild card, and they're eliminated. That's how it works. Same with the Red Sox. Elimination number is 7. Those 2 play again today. I think this is going to be the last game of the series for them. But also, looking around the league, we have Seattle and Toronto currently tied for the final wild card spot, so that would be an interesting one. Seattle, like I said, they're playing right now against the Angels. Desperately need to get that win to knock Toronto back out, but Toronto's been pretty solid recently. Following the AL East, sticking with those teams, Baltimore still holds a 2.5 game lead over Tampa Bay. And I've been saying, what is going on with this series, with this lead that Baltimore has? Because for the past month and a half now, maybe 2 months, Tampa's been 3 or 2.5 games back. I feel like those are the only 2 gaps that they've had over the past month and a half. They haven't gotten closer than 2.5 games, but they haven't fallen farther than 3 games behind yet. That is going to be a race. I don't know if it's actually going to be a competitive one, because who knows, they could keep staying at this 3-game cushion for the rest of the season. Only about 20 games left here. Not a lot of time. And for most of these teams, like, let's say, Texas, you better start winning. Because the news that we got yesterday and today, not good. So we've talked about the Texas Rangers quite a bit here. They were in control, I would say, over the AL West, but as of yesterday, there's a problem. So Max Scherzer was injured. He is expected to miss the remainder of the regular season with a strained teres major. That's the muscle that connects the scapula to the humerus. Can a doctor call in and let me know if that's serious? Scherzer would be unlikely to pitch in the playoffs. They lost DeGrom earlier in the year. They trade for Scherzer. Now they lose Scherzer. That's a name that you can only say a few times before it becomes hard to say. So I'm just going to call him Max. Max. So they trade for Max, and he gets hurt. Rangers a game out of the playoffs. Can they pull it together over the next 20 games to win? I mean, yeah, probably. It's only a pitcher, which might sound, a little bit rude or a little crazy to say. What do you mean it's only a pitcher? Well, your starting pitcher only plays what? Every 5 games? That's 5, 6 at the most games left. 5 games at the most for Max for the rest of the year. They should be okay. It's once you get to the playoffs, when that one game that Scherzer would have been pitching, that he's not pitching, becomes a problem, because now maybe you drop that game, whereas you would have won it had Scherzer been pitching. It's just a tough situation, especially if you're a fan of the Texas Rangers. It's not the team that we're bandwagoning, though, so rest assured in that. Cincinnati is our team, and they will be our team. They're going to make the playoffs. I'm telling you. We need Elly De La Cruz in the playoffs. We just need it. We need it. It would be so good for baseball in a year where we lost the Angels and Shohei Ohtani and all these issues that we're having about talking about where is Shohei going to go? Is he going to play? What is the Angels going to do? The Angels are eliminated. Yay! No Shohei in the playoffs. We'll get Elly De La Cruz in there because he is just as electric. He just only plays one side of the ball. He doesn't pitch. I mean, I guess in baseball it's not really called playing one side of the ball because you play defense and offense. It's more of, I don't know how you would say that. But anyway, the point being, he's only a fielder and a hitter. He does not pitch. But he's still electric. And he would be great to see in the playoffs, and baseball would benefit greatly from it. All right, we're heading to our last break already. This show flies by faster and faster every day. We're going to get into NASCAR when we return. We're getting closer to the Bristol night race, so stay tuned. We have some sound from some drivers that we're going to pull up. We're going to talk a little bit about the Bristol track itself. You're not going to want to miss it. Scoreboard here on WSIC with me, your host, Joe Berg. We'll be back after this. Don't go anywhere.
Conversations that matter.
I gotta tell you, I'm afraid to even think about the next presidential election.
Led by you.
It's a mockery of American politics.
This is WSIC News Talk Now.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Enjoy exploring the many musical talents of others? Kane Center for the Arts in Cornelius is hosting the LKN Songwriters Showcase this Saturday. Davidson Mayor Rusty Knox will be among the performers. The LKN Songwriters Showcase this Saturday. For more info, visit canearts.org. That's CAINarts.org. Less than 2 weeks until Huntersville Heyday, the sesquicentennial celebration for the town of Huntersville. Saturday, September 23rd from 2 until 8 p.m. at Huntersville Athletic Park. Come celebrate Huntersville's 150th birthday. Saturday, September 23rd. For more info, visit huntersville.org. Not much time left for apple picking at Kerrigan Farms. The apple picking at Kerrigan Farms is a very short window. Apple picking will end September 30th. Apple picking at Kerrigan Farms, only in September. Book your experience now at kerriganfarms.com. That's kerriganfarms.com. Have an event you would like to tell people about? Yard sales, estate sales, and everything in between? Visit WSICnews.com and click on events to submit your event today.
The Renaissance Festival is back! Saturdays and Sundays, September 30th through November 19th. A non-stop outdoor family adventure! Huzzah! Tickets available online only at renfestinfo.com while supplies last. The Carolina Renaissance Festival is sponsored by Sunbelt Rentals. For all your equipment rental needs, equipment service guaranteed. Huzzah!
And now a look at your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. As we head into the evening here, be on the lookout for isolated showers and thunderstorms. There is a 20% chance of precipitation. Through the overnight, we're looking at a low around 62 degrees. And heading into tomorrow morning, mostly sunny skies with a high expected to be 78. This is your weather update from the WSIC Weather Center.
Folks, you know Randy Marion sells vehicles the King of Price way, but did you know our service department? We service vehicles the King of Price way. We sell tires, we sell brakes, we sell batteries, we sell the maintenance. We help you keep your vehicle on the road safe, ready to drive, whatever the season is. Randy Marion service departments have you covered. Come see us today because, folks, again, you know we sell the King of Price way and we do service the King of Price way.
King of Price, RandyMarionStatesville.com.
Have your say.
Trusting the government to fix anything is a joke.
Be a part of the conversation.
We can't even trust the banks with our money.
This is WSIC News Talk Now.
All right, final segment here on the scoreboard. 704-873-1400. That's the phone number if you'd like to call in, have a chat, ask a question, yell, whatever you want to do. Give me a call. We'll hash it out. Getting over here to NASCAR to end the show. Final segment of the day. This one went by quick. Like I said, if you have something you'd like to talk about, give me a call. You have 10 minutes left before we end for today. So we go to Bristol. We've been talking about it. Saturday night, Bristol race. The Bass Pro Shops night race, 500 laps. Probably the best event that NASCAR has in the playoffs. I know everybody loves Darlington, and crowning a champion is huge. But I feel like Bristol is still one of those tracks that can always, perform. There's always going to be a good race at Bristol, whether it's, I'm trying to think of a few good ones here. There's so many of them to go off of. You got Jeff Gordon moving Rusty Wallace out of the way a couple of times, creating the bump and run. You got Dale Earnhardt just trying to rattle Terry Labonte's cage. Even more recently, you have the Xfinity series going there where they're wrecking across the line. You have Tony Stewart throwing a helmet at Matt Kenseth. I mean, there's always, you have Matt DiBenedetto almost winning, getting beat by none other than the Scoreboard's favorite, Denny Hamlin. There's just so many good races that come out of Bristol. And last year, it was a non-playoff driver, Chris Buescher, who won. Chris Buescher, one of the hottest drivers in NASCAR right now. I know he had a bad finish last weekend at Kansas. Tough, not really his fault. Tire blew out, and he finished in the mid-20s, which, like I said, not his fault. I still think he's one of the hottest drivers in the field right now. Is he going to be able to carry his momentum from last year? I don't think so. Completely different race, completely different season, different cars, different setups. But he does have that confidence that, hey, I won here. And Bristol's a favorite for everyone. Whether you're a fan, whether you're a crew chief, whether you're a driver. Here's what Bubba Wallace has to say about Bristol being a favorite for some of the drivers.
Bristol's a favorite for all the drivers in the field. And so we know the race is going to be tough. The confidence is going to be high for everybody. And so we just need to go out and try to be better than the rest. I've always wanted to win at Bristol, but to show up there and have speed and to be competitive is the first step. But we got to start moving that needle. You know, I think we're going to have to be in position to get stage points and fight for everything that we have. Just have to go out and enjoy the racetrack. That place is a track where you have to show up and respect it because it will bite you. Enjoying it is a good step too.
And he's definitely right. He's going to need to be up there fighting for stage points. It's really unfortunate because he was running really good at Kansas before that tire blew out on him. Tire problems at Kansas, I know. Whoop-de-doo. But it is a driver's favorite. Drivers love going there. Bubba currently 19 points out of the playoffs. Very tough road ahead. Not impossible to make up 19 points in one race, but it's going to be hard. And it'd be more likely to happen if he was able to go out there and win. Take the points out of the question, get the win, and move on to the next round. Another driver who's going to need points, Martin Truex Jr. Who saw this coming? Nobody. And it's one of the reasons why I think the playoff format is absolutely atrocious. You have one bad race in a round, and your season's over. Truex had the best regular season, won the regular season championship, had a really good race for 4 laps. I mean, I guess if you can call it a really good race. So he had a decent race at Darlington. Then you go to Kansas, and lap 4, like I said, 4 laps in, he wrecks. Tire goes down. Control arm's broken. Can't fix that. You got to go to the garage. And with the policies that NASCAR has now, if you can't fix it in, I think it's 6 minutes or 8 minutes, they might have changed it to 8 minutes. You're done for the day. No more ripping half the car apart and throwing them back out on the track. I miss those days and the reason they don't do that anymore, by the way, this is a complete aside that just came to me. I'm pretty sure the reason that they don't do this anymore is that they have the rule where you have to fix your car in the stall in 8 minutes is because of what happened at Martinsville in the playoffs. Man, I think it was 2016 or 15, right around the time when Joey Logano was going to possibly win his first championship. Him and Matt Kenseth tangled at Kansas. Matt Kenseth wrecked at Martinsville, and he had nothing to race for, so he comes back out 100 laps down and says, I'm going to wreck Joey as payback. And he drove him into the fence, and the rest is history. Anyway, a little bit of a tangent there. But we got Denny Hamlin, the first driver in the points right now with 49, followed by William Byron with 41. The other two ahead of Hamlin, Reddick and Larson, already clinched. Larson won at Darlington. Reddick won at Kansas. Here's what Hamlin has to say on how he will approach Bristol with a nice little points cushion.
Yeah, I mean, I think, we're going to be far enough ahead. We're going to just race it like we are advancing. We're going to race to win the race. We're going to try to do whatever we can to flip stages and not care about stage points to go out there and give us the best opportunity to win, similar to the 5 and the 45. So I think that's a track that certainly there's a lot of opportunities and for teams that are desperate for points to play that game for stages, but then they're going to get flipped for the end of the race. And so it makes it easier for us and our strategy going forward to just focus on what do we got to do to win.
Surprise, surprise, I don't really agree with Denny Hamlin. I don't think you can go into that race assuming you're going to advance. Because we just saw Truex lose 40 points in one race. It's possible for him to miss. He is not clinched. He is not locked in by any means. He did not gain enough points. So I don't know where the mentality of, we're going to advance anyway. We might as well go out there and gung-ho. No, you can't do that. You can be aggressive, but you still got to worry about the points because you don't want to have a Truex situation. And if he gets some stage points, then that's probably it. If he gets like 8 stage points, I bet he clinches or something crazy like that. But if you do what Truex did, like I said, and you wreck out of the race before you get any points and you finish dead last, you're going to be scoreboard watching the rest of the day because you are not locked in. You might get knocked out. So you got to finish. You got to finish the race. You got to try to gain points and not say, we're locked in. Don't worry about it. You should worry about it because it very well could happen. We saw it happen last week. And Bristol, man, Bristol is such a wild card. It's almost like Talladega, but not as much because there's so many good drivers at Bristol, and it's more of a driver's track than anything. You see guys come out of nowhere who are good at certain tracks. They're terrible at Bristol or vice versa. Here is Christopher Bell and what he has to say about Bristol being an actual wildcard race.
Yeah, Bristol's unique because it's not a super speedway. It's about as opposite of a super speedway as you could get, but it still has that feel of, if something happens in front of you, you're in trouble, and it's very tough to miss it. So whenever the schedule came out, I don't know how many years in a row Bristol has been a cutoff race, but it's one that you don't want to go in there having to race for points for sure because you never know what can happen. And I think even in my short career, at least half the races at Bristol have been DNFs because you get caught up in other people's messes. So fortunately last year I was able to, do good through Darlington and Kansas, and Bristol was a ton of fun, and I was able to forget about points and go out there and try and race to win. So it is a little bit of a wild card.
Unfortunately, not the case for him this year. Christopher Bell does need to worry about points. Only 13 points to the good. Other drivers who need to pay attention is Kevin Harvick, 7 points. Logano, 12. Chris Buescher, who I've been hoping that he does something good, is sitting at 13 also. Right there with Christopher Bell. Thank you for tuning in today. Reminder, tomorrow we got to preview a football game. Thursday night football between the Vikings and the Eagles. You've been listening to WSIC. This is The Scoreboard with me, your host, Joe Berg. Same place, same time tomorrow. I'll be here. Don't miss it. Have a good one, everyone.
The new 105.9, 100.7 WSIC's